4 chapters. We read Redeeming Our Heroes in the Light of the Triduum Sacrum. Is that how you say that? Do you know? Triduum?
I would
Triduum?
I
say
don't have any idea.
What?
I would say Triduum,
Ah,
but I could be wrong. Triduum Sacrum. That's how I would say it in my mind.
what about you, Tommy? What did you say?
No, I didn't have any idea.
Hi, Jill. Welcome. So we read Redeeming Our Heroes in the Light of the Triduum Sacrum, works for me, Sacrum. Healing the City, the Holy City, and Ragnarok. So let's see. I was just complimenting Candace before you came in, Jill, about how great her questions were, and then her complete derailing of the questions by her analysis afterwards was fantastic. And that is exactly how I have been experiencing this book, that it's deliberately driving that cow right through our little cottage every single time, and that the experience of reading it is completely different than um, asking the question, uh,
Oh, yes.
does integration risk collapsing the uh, hierarchy of morality? It's like, yes, it does.
Yeah,
But that kind of misses the point.
yeah.
um, so I have to admit, I've been trying to grasp this at higher levels, maybe higher levels than I should. And it might be worthwhile to go down to the words of the chapter. We've been kind of avoiding that, I think. At least I think I've been kind of avoiding it the past couple meetings we've had because I felt like I needed a life raft. Didn't really know where I was in the progress of the book. But maybe let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at the words in the chapter themselves and see where that gets us.
Yeah.
All right. So it starts with a poem about Faust. Has anyone here ever read or watched or participated in any story about Faust?
No.
No.
I have to admit, I only have the vaguest cultural periphery knowledge of its existence, and I really did not know what it was about. So I had to look that up. It is a play. Well, it has been a play. It has been a book. It has been many books. It has been many, up to and including puppet shows of the 1700s that depict a man who makes a deal with the devil to have knowledge, essentially.
Oh,
Knowledge and...
well, is it related to Faustian bargain?
Yes,
Yes.
Wow.
Faust.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. Well, that helps. Knowing how to say any of
Okay.
these words is useful. Okay. Faust, then. And in the process of this story, he uses his knowledge and his uh, worldly wealth and goods that he's been acquiring to seduce a pure young maiden and obtains her by illicit means. And eventually, I guess in one version of the story, she has a child through this unnatural union, and she decides to murder the infant, and then she's put to death for that crime. And her pleading, so eventually the devil comes to collect Faust, and her pleading on his behalf from heaven eventually redeems him in some versions. In other versions, he's completely irredeemable. But that's kind of the long short of it. So to look up that background story and then come back to this chapter and um, say redeeming our heroes in the light of the Triduum Sacrum uh, was kind of a distasteful thing to do. I don't want to um, be like Faust. I want to be the opposite of that. Um, so uh, I'm going to read a line from the chapter. It says, typically, in our culture, the hero is someone who performs a great task. He slays a dragon fulsome to overflowing in poisonous malignancies. He rides on a reign of its, I know, of its I don't know how to say any of these words. Autochthonius? Does anyone, can anyone help me with that?
Oh,
Comes from the earth. Okay, with comes from the earth monsters, opening up to human incursion and settlement. Um, let's see. I thought there was something in here about something else. Okay, well, I lost my mind. Okay. Okay, well, I'm confused. I thought there was a point where we talked about Faust as some kind of hero, and I don't know that that's said explicitly.
I think it's at the end of the chapter.
Oh, okay, yeah, I found it. Thank you.
yeah, doesn't he match him up with the necromancer guy?
Well, it
Or is that
says,
later?
I'm not sure. It says, the
Okay.
point I would like to make is that it isn't good to slay the dragon. It isn't good to rid the earth of its from the earth monsters. It isn't good hoping for peace in our city, for peace in our minds, to lobotomize the psyche, to lobotomize the earth. Faust, in this understanding of him, doesn't slay dragons. He doesn't suppress his animal or chakral nature. And yet, as the poem imagines him, he is a hero of inclusion and not exclusion. Okay, so when I read that, I vomited in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, me too.
um, that's not something that I would put to pen or publish without, great travail. Um, and yet, I'm still willing to to see this book out because, and I think the only reason why I'm really prepared to have this particular conversation is because of Jordan Peterson and how probably most of us got to this corner of the internet anyway. Um, his talk on um, learning to recognize his own potential to be a psychopath is what brought orientation to some of the darkest places of humanity. Um, so I can't look at Faust as someone who um, was doing that. Like to me, Faust is painted pretty pretty clearly as someone who just is the psychopath, and it may be brought to redemption by the efforts of others. It looks like. Um, I guess I would need to read the story, but he did say that it's this poem specifically, um,
Yeah.
and not necessarily some other story. So I don't know. Maybe if I knew more of this poem or where it was from, I would be able to sympathize a little bit more. But um, seeing yourself as not someone who represses these inner dragons, seeing yourself as someone who could never be a Nazi, who could never be a psychopath, who could never take pleasure in hurting others. Um, that is the kind of dragon slaying that just sows the teeth of dragons. Um, that's something I can hold on to, and I can kind of maneuver myself. Okay, we're if I look at it from that perspective, then I don't get nauseous reading this chapter. Then I might be able to hear a little bit more of what Moriarty has to say. Um, but it brings us to a problem. And I think that problem is not easily answered. And I think that the fact that it's not easily answered is why it's taking this incredibly long book of riddles to bring us to the problem, um, which is if you do not deny the fact that you have the capacity to be a psychopath in you, right? How are we going to build a city together? Right? Like, do you have to build a monument to your inner psychopath, your green dragon temple? Or is there a point in a child's life where you need to show them that they can be dragons too, or that their scope of what a dragon is not nearly big enough um, to intentionally frame break? We've talked about this in different guises throughout different stories, but um, if we are people that have the capacity for the heaven and hell inside us, and the world is, uh, as we'll see in the last chapter, kind of in the Ragnarok chapter where he says it's not the outer world ending is actually a sign of an inner world ending. Um, how do we get anywhere progressively with these dragons in tow? And then I think uh, when you have gone through that depth of Triduum Sacrum, knowing that you have this dark night inside you, um, then you're properly set up for Easter morning.
Mhm.
But that's my thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts.
I had a few things that came to mind, if I may.
Yes, please.
So I think that's what Halloween is about. So, and I got a lot of insight in this from the Green Knight story. But Halloween is, Hallows Eve. It's the dark night before we celebrate the saints. Before we celebrate holiness, something like that. And what we're doing is we sort of acknowledge that we all entertain demons from time to time, but you don't let them into your bedroom. You sort of keep them on your porch and send them away. Like you keep them to the outer regions where they belong on the periphery, and give them a little trinket or something, but you don't give them a piece of your soul. You give them something you don't care about. I don't know. And but we acknowledge that we all like entertain these demons. It would be better if we didn't, but we're all human. And Sir Gawain is a virtuous knight, but he's still human too. He's still protecting his neck to some degree. He kind of can't help it, but he can sort of repent of it and try to do better the next time. And when we're parading around in these demonic costumes, we're kind of poking fun at it. We're kind of laughing at the demons, like, haha, we have the saints, so we can like make room for a little bit of chaos and still save our souls, still survive the night, because we have a higher image to hold fast to. But so we look at these demons, and we look at how ridiculous we look if we let the demonic take over, right? It's carnival. We laugh at this alternative image of ourselves. and we see like this is what the world would look like if we just, you know, let everything go haywire. That's also the movie The Purge, I think. You know, if you let the demons just do whatever they want, this is what you get. Is that what you want? You know, we kind of get a vision of it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's a great example. Actually, it it brings this uh, problem, the sort of black hole at the center of this book of um, how do we drag along these dragons of um, with my family and Halloween. Um, we have to ask ourselves, um, how scary is too scary? um, what's what's beyond the pale for my 4-year-olds, my 5-year-olds, my 6-year-olds, and how does that change over time? Um, at what point can they watch a scary movie? And you might think, especially before you have kids, like, oh, this age will do it because that's the age I was ready for it. And then you have kids and you realize that's utterly irrelevant to the people that they are and their needs. And that one of your children might be ready. So I have twins who are the same age, and one of them might be ready for something and the other one not. So um, that deciding who's ready for what, the deciding how far into the scary spectrum you're willing to go, um, I think it's that same issue. That's my thoughts.
The image of like the fringe kept coming up for me in this, just like the fringe on a rug. And you can't just cut it off. It has to be there, but it's in a particular place. Like it's not the main, thing. But at the same time, like I don't know. So I just kept thinking of the fringe image. I don't have much more to say about it, but
Yeah, well, things start to unravel if they don't have. If you try to tie up all the loose ends, then the center won't hold. There's too much tension. There needs to be a
wait,
loosening
what?
somewhere.
Oh,
If you try to tie up all the loose ends, there will be too much tension, and the center won't hold. It needs to be a loosening at some point.
Did anyone see that video? Who posted that video? It was a clip of Jonathan Pajot talking about the Enlightenment being an attempt to take order all the way to the edges.
yes.
And when you do that, you do lose the fringe. You aren't
Yeah.
allowed for any space beyond. And so that makes things disintegrate. I think that's what you're saying, Kevin. It is more of ridding the border by taking light all the way to the edge, which you can't, right? You have to. I posted one quote from the book about unlobotomized something, right? And I think that is what we are trying to do. We want to separate ourselves, where union with Christ is wholeness. Union brings wholeness, but it's only through Christ. He's the only one who's smart enough. And we try to do it for ourselves. We want to cut off the unpleasant. And you really are not going to. I mean, the poor will always be with you. And I don't understand that at all, nor do I have to. I just have to believe what Christ says is true. So that means then I have a response to the poor. I will be the first one to numb myself and go watch 10 movies to block out the scary thing that is reality. I know I'm going to do that, but it's lobotomizing yourself. So if he's trying to get us to not do that, then I think he's on the right track. I think he's warning us. It's a danger. I feel like I keep getting warnings here, in a good way.
Yeah, that's great, Jill. The warning is sort of a prod against being too comfortable with inherited answers, maybe. It again reminds me of Jordan Peterson's, saving your father from the belly of the whale, with the whale being sort of the cast off civilization of your father's kingdom, the parts that aren't working anymore, um, and that you could rescue your father from that. Um, and this descent into the abyss is that rescue attempt. Now, Jordan Peterson would have us slay the beast in the process and get the gold and bring it back. Um, and I don't think that it's almost like that is the carcass of the whale that we're currently stuck in. Um, the idea of um, what Moriarty calls slaying the dragon. He says, don't do that. Um, so I've noticed that the book is not really not really taking us to the pit as much as it sort of makes vague allusions to it. Um, because really, when you look it in the face, it's really horrendous. I mean, it's not something where you're like, oh, um, cute little minotaur baby. Let me try to integrate this. It's more like ritualized child sacrifice throughout the entirety of human history. Um, it's uh, it's far more ugly than um, cute little let's make offerings to the wind or something. Like it's um, the darkness that we're um, trying to circumvent when we slay dragons is real darkness. So I don't know. It again brings us to this problem of, well, if you pretend like all of the bad is out there and slayable, then you're going to have it re-show up in your dreams. It's the king who uh, defeats the dragon and builds the castle, but his own bedroom is a dragon's lair. Um, that's that's the condition that we're in. So this idea of making a temple for the green dragon is very, very precarious to me, and I think it is supposed to be, but I think my one criticism of the book so far is that it's not really telling us the cost. It's not really looking it in the face. Um, and I, on the one hand, appreciate that because, like I was just talking about, with people being at different levels of readiness for different truths about the world, um, his audience is going to be at different levels of readiness to really have those discussions. But if this is really supposed to be a Ragnarok, it's going to have to look at these things full in the face. What do you think? Is it for the better that he doesn't, or do you think it's actually putting a sugar coating over uh, something vile?
mean, I feel like he's not direct about much. So,
Fair.
you have to, if you're gonna get to that insight, it's like through your own wrestling with the text. So,
Yeah, I think, yeah, so wrestling with the text is one thing, but then there's the experience of it. So one thing that you come in danger when you start going deep like this into an often unexperienced part of life is that when you start making the resolution too high, you invite more questions than you do give answers because of the language barrier. Having language at hand to describe the things that you're experiencing within, like in this example, Dreamtime. So I think the best he can do is find these examples like of a dragon and Faust, and I'll have to look at the poem about Faust again because for him to, like Anna's saying, for him to say something so crazy like Faust is a hero, he's probably pointing to something particular within the poem to relate to dragons and this idea of not slaying dragons. And I think that's the difficulty is a lot of this stuff is it's got to be experienced. It's for like, okay, here's an example. So the idea of slaying a dragon, like Anna was saying about like if we contrast Moriarty with Peterson, slaying the dragon versus like just fighting the dragon or taming the dragon. It's very possible that we're talking about two different things that are using the same word.
Mhm.
Where Moriarty might be talking about dragon, that isn't what Peterson's talking about, like with dragons or monsters.
Very true.
So yeah, so
Deserving
like
of
when
nuance.
say what?
Deserving of nuance.
Yeah, and I think that Moriarty purposely stays away from codifying anything in like some sort of like codex or canon, is because the thing is so deep in us that each person's going to have a different word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because what I posted in the Moriarty forum was that it seems more like what Moriarty's talking about is what Christ was talking about with demons, and that if you cast out a demon, it's going to go away and it's going to invite more demons and more powerful demons, and they're going to go look for the house that's well put together and try and destroy it, right?
Right.
That's what I understood as what Moriarty's talking about with demons. And then I also came to the conclusion, like Jill was talking about, with, well, some things are up to Christ. We have to remember that we're given particular roles, and some people are dragon slayers, and some people aren't dragon slayers. Like you kind of, it's the identity problem. You have to know what your role is, and if you're going out trying to like in The Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins was rightly hired as a thief and a burglar, but it would have been a terrible mistake to hire him as a dragon slayer
Right.
because there's different roles. Like Bilbo,
Yeah.
if Bilbo would have tried to kill the dragon, it would have ended very, very poorly for him. Right?
Yeah, and if he kills Smeagol, he's killing. If he kills Golem, he's killing Smeagol too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I noticed that the good guys in all these movies, the Christian character, when they have the enemy under their sword, they give them mercy. And I think part of it is that they can see everybody has a glimmer of God in them. There's a little kernel of goodness even in the most evil people, and maybe some people have committed the unforgivable sin, but that's not for us to judge. Like we just don't personally know enough to be able to judge them. So, we let God judge them.
Yeah, it may not be your role to judge. Well, but it might also be your role to judge because, like in The Hobbit, Barlin shot the arrow that killed Smaug. Right, so he had to make a judgment on whether to let Smaug live or die, and he shot the arrow and it killed him. But it's about knowing your role, and the hard thing is that I think in all these stories, there's that transient wizard figure that's kind of guiding it all, that has like the ultimate wisdom and is able to discern who has what identity and then like sets them on their path, which is what Gandalf does. Gandalf knows what sort of person Bilbo can be. He also knows what sort of person Frodo can be. And he also knows enough about Smeagol to tell Frodo that pity is the thing that saved Smeagol's life, and that Frodo should be slow to dealing out judgment, right? But I think the difficulty is we have such a drought of these transient wizard figures that we're trying to. I think what we're okay. I think what we're really wrestling with is this idea of wisdom. Like, right? Because when we ask, well, why would Moriarty call Faust a hero? That's crazy, right? And I think what we all want is that some sort of wisdom to figure out what's going on, not just in the book, but like all over the place, right? And I don't think we have enough transient wizards that are able to convey it in a way that sticks with us.
Right.
Why does the wizard have to be transient?
Because in order to have wisdom, you have to have a wide array of experiences to know what should happen in the future.
Is that why Abraham was told to walk his land north, east, south, and west?
Yeah, it's also why Moses was the adopted son of a pharaoh and a Hebrew, because he was trained in both. He was raised by his mother, his actual birth mother, and by Pharaoh, so he knows both worlds. David is the same. David goes from being a shepherd on the outskirts to being a warrior within the camp. So yeah, this transient thing is kind of necessary for wisdom.
So Moses has split hooves.
Moses has what?
Split hooves. He's got his
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Ruminant.
Yeah.
Actually, the word for Hebrew might mean to cross over. So that
What word?
Ivrit, it means a Hebrew.
You mean the word Hebrew? Okay.
Yes,
Well, that's
the
cool.
word Hebrew means to cross over. So the Hebrews
Okay.
are those who crossed over. Those who crossed the Red Sea, those who crossed from the material world to the spiritual reality. I don't mean like I don't know. I don't mean Narnia. I mean like the world where everything is spiritual. The um, the crossing over happens at Passover, which is a passing over of death. So the those who cross over is the identity of the race of wizards. The people that can bring that wisdom.
Yeah, but I mean, this book, Dreamtime, is all about the crossing over too.
Yes.
He's taking us from our material world, and he's taking us deeper into this Dreamtime. And we're all trying to figure out what Dreamtime is.
I was praying before I read the chapter, as I typically do, and I was kind of surprised. Actually, I started reading and then I stopped to pray because I realized I wasn't going to get anywhere on my own. And I was surprised by the words that came to mind, which was first, as far as I knew, what I was saying was, forgive me of my ignorance. And then I also said spontaneously, and forgive me of my wisdom. And I think there's something of that in the Ragnarok, the seeing the destruction of the outer world as um, as an inner phenomena. But let's see. Another thought I had was that so something that's been kind of on my mind a lot lately is um, the idea that we always want to map the territory. And I personally love maps. I love charts. I love um, reading a book and then talking about it, spreading it out on the map, getting our discussion questions, et cetera, et cetera. And it occurs to me that you can't map dream space. Um, and it can't be mapped because it's ever changing. And that to an extent, um, the I don't know how to say this. The snake can't be mapped either. It's twisting, it's turning, it's doubling back on itself. It's constantly um, beyond the fringe. Um, and if you want to navigate in a dream or navigate um, the subtlety of the world, you don't need a map of the territory. You need a map of yourself. And that map of yourself can be something like the knowledge of good and evil, um, knowing wisely what to do in various circumstances according to a rule higher than yourself. And that um, attempting to map the territory of the dream is an attempt to colonize it so that you can live there. Attempting to map the snake is the same. And it's a futile exercise. But you can, um, use, for example, the Bible as a map of your inner territory and use that to navigate the dream time. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to take us to the last chapter because I really enjoyed it on Ragnarok. And let's talk about. I really enjoyed the discussion. So these three roosters keep coming up, the ones that herald the Ragnarok for the Nordic. And in this chapter, he seems to be a little bit more willing to verbalize things than he is in other chapters. And he really says, okay, I'm going to compare the Norse Ragnarok to the Buddhist world tree, Bodhi tree. And that's the tree where the Buddha sits under it and has his enlightenment that, let's see, he explains it explicitly. So let's go ahead and read that. Just gotta find it. All right. In the Buddhist world, in contrast to this Nordic view, see that whole sentence is just startlingly clear compared to the rest of the book. The Buddhist world, in contrast to the Nordic view, there is talk of asraya praviti, that is, talk of a revulsion at the root of us in consciousness, of a revulsion that is characterized by an unremitting determination to destroy those inner psychological needs in which worldly experience has its source and continuance. And it is advisedly in this context that we speak, not of world, but of worldly existence. For, as the Buddhists understand it, there isn't an interior existing, independently existing world of which we have or can have experience. In this estimation, the world dissolves into worldly experience and has its source within. It follows that for a Buddhist, Ragnarok is inner psychological and not an outer cosmological sequence of things happening, things done. Now, as I'm reading that out loud, it seems exactly opposite of Fodla, who levels her gaze. So, in one world, we have the world is only experienced through the world only exists through your world experience. And then in another, it says that nature has a law that cannot be overcome, and your what was it? Your monastery or your chapel, or maybe it was a rock. He said, if it becomes unmoored from that reality, then you've lost it. It's not true and it's not sacred. So I wonder if you bring those two ideas together, that there's a a natural state of the world that God made, but that is an internal state. That there's a divine ground inside you that actually you have to mediate, the way you would mediate um, a garden to bear your fruit. Um, Making Fodla the internal divine ground. Um, what does that what does that require of us if that's the case? Does anyone have any thoughts on that? I guess one question is, if that divine ground is indeed internal and it has a Ragnarok, what does that mean?
Isn't Ragnarok a destruction of it all?
Mm-hmm.
And so it
I guess
sounds, yeah, go
is the
ahead.
divine ground what's left after the Ragnarok? That like crow bird shadow thing that happens later in the chapter?
Hmm.
Sorry
It
if I
does
derailed.
sound like the shattering of all of the house of cards you built.
Mm-hmm.
I had a time where I recognized what was happening in my life as the shaking of everything that could be shaken.
Yeah.
But when you're done, it isn't done. So it's like this, okay, I recognize this as the hand of God. Somehow he's holding me in the hollow of his hand. But I am seeing a lot of destruction and I don't know how to sort it out. So I think this one idea keeps popping back into my head, and let's hope it fits. It is, if I set about to destroy the dragon, cut off the head of every evil in the world, I see, including, I mean, mostly in myself, then I am not adept. I will destroy too much. So it will destroy me. So I don't really have that business. I think Tommy was pointing to that. Maybe that's the theme of my thinking, because I didn't really hear myself saying that before. But there is kind of a, what is it? It's like a submission to the divine ground, and not trying to destroy everything, because if I did have the power to destroy all evil, everybody would be gone,
Yeah.
right? There would be nothing left. So, yeah, help me.
No, I think that's the core of the problem of the book that we're all circling around. So I don't know. It's a little beyond me. Does anyone want to chime in?
I don't know why Tommy's typing instead of answering, but he's said in the chat that it seems related to where meaning comes from. And I want to hear this.
30 seconds. Okay, we're counting.
Who's got the watch?
Should be rated. Oh, give me 30 seconds.
I'm back.
Yay.
I'm explaining why it's related to meaning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So, man. So the idea of Ragnarok being like this destructive event. I know Anna just correctly pointed out that the book is kind of avoiding being mapped, but I think there still is a map, or at least I made one in my mind. So the beginning of the book, like the first half, it was taking us from our surface material thinking, and it started diving us deeper into like a deeper world, right? And so here in this idea of what is he says Grand Canyon deep, right? Here at like the bottom of the Grand Canyon, we're looking around and we're trying to figure out what he's talking about. And then he brings up Ragnarok and dragons, about not slaying dragons, and this world-ending event of Ragnarok. And the thing about being this far down is when we start messing with things, the higher material world, the primary world, is going to change. Down here at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, if we start killing dragons, we're going to think that the primary world is different. And so when Jill says, if I go around and I start lobbing the head off of all the dragons, and then I kill all the dragons, well, have you actually killed the dragons? Or have you only killed some? And so when you return out of the dreamland into the primary world and you live as if you had killed all the dragons, well, that's going to affect how you live when you encounter a dragon again. So when I'm thinking about meaning, I'm thinking that to destroy something at this level is to make the primary either safer or more dangerous, because we've altered what it means to be real, or what's available in the real world.
Okay, I tried to type what you said, but I started late. So can you just look in the chat and tell me what I need to fix, would you?
No, that's way more succinct than what I said, and it's right on.
Good news.
So, okay, so the other half of this is how we're defining the world. At the first part of Moriarty's book, he's trying to get us to blend the two. He's showing us that the things in the material world have a deeper reality to them. When he was talking about stone isn't really a stone, the stone becomes like the old lady, right? I think at some level we have to stop separating the two worlds of Dreamtime and Primary and realize that they're way more interconnected than what we are trying to bifurcate it as.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting the impression that there isn't a material world that's not couched in the dream world.
Yeah.
So the idea of leaving one for the other, has me tripping again because, stumbling again because I don't know um, how I could slay a dragon in one world and it not be something that I'm doing in the other, or vice versa. I don't know. I guess I just need to
Well, I don't
finish the
think you
book.
can.
Okay.
Okay, here's an example. If you adopt the idea that birds are robots created by the government to watch us all, you have created a Ragnarok event, or you accepted the Ragnarok event of the destruction of birds.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay, I can take that. That is bite size and I can run with it all day. That is great.
Because included in that is everything that has birds in it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time Martin Shaw talks about crows, or he's talking about like a bard having like feathers, or that sort of thing, you then have to contend, well, is Martin Shaw talking about the real birds, or is he talking about the fantasy birds that are organic, right? And then it's just Ragnarok all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. How to live wholly and not bifurcated.
Yeah, this is the super technical rundown of the bifurcation is by Wolfgang Smith, because he talks about how quantum physics have created a bifurcation in the material, and that the idea of like red isn't a thing within physics.
Mm-hmm.
Only the matter is. But in order to understand red, you have to disconnect from materialism in order to accept red as a category.
Yeah.
But as soon as you ignore red from the categories, you've destroyed something. Like if apples don't have any color, then you've taken something away from apples.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that that opens a whole new door of possibilities for considering this book. So, actually, this is a perfect time for me to wrap up. You guys are welcome to keep talking if you have the time. But I'm going to hold on to that. Destroying one strand of an idea creates a. It's not even. It's more than that. I'm going to have to work on even how to phrase it. But yeah, it's bifurcating one strand of the rug will unravel the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap us up for the day. We've got 4 more chapters next time. It's going to be Bastille Day, uh, Imram Eva, another long word I can't possibly say, and then shaman. So those are our 4 chapters for next week. And good luck, everyone. Hope to see you on the other side.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thanks,
much.
Anna.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye. That was brilliant. You guys are brilliant. I so
Hey,
enjoy.
you contributed.
Oh, well, I did. I'm brilliant too, apparently.
Yes.
Although tomorrow I will not necessarily own anything you said, but
Oh.
I saw the light. The light came on in Anna's eyes, and that was encouraging because usually I can reprocess things and then they'll be more stable. But it's brain injury stuff. You might as well know I'm injured, but I'm getting better.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. This shouldn't be recorded though. Sorry for
I'll cut
telling
that.
the personal stories. I know I'm not supposed to do that so much. Bad filters too.
It will be deleted.
Anyway, can you delete it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love you, Kevin. Thank you, honey. So, I was interested in what that little part that you said about the crows. It was about the conspiracy that all birds are AI. They're made by the evil government, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
therefore, you're flattening. So you no longer allow them to exist in your world out of some sort of self-preservation.
Oh no, no, they still exist, but in a different nature,
You
a
don't destroy.
nefarious nature.
You're not going about destroying them. You're
Well, no, because
just
you can't really destroy birds because the birds are still going to fly around when you wake up and look outside, right? So you can't kill the idea of a bird, but you can change it to make it either something that you enjoy or don't enjoy.
wow. That's a very wonderful facet to this idea, this thing we're dealing with. Because it does feel like when you were talking about dream time and wake time,
Yeah.
um, I, I do believe that we as modern people relegate dreams to the periphery.
Yeah.
They're not taken seriously.
Well, no, because also, I mean, also we overuse the word for a lot of different things. So, like, sometimes we'll say dream in terms of like having an ambition, when we should just be that my ambition. You say we should just say ambition, and then we talk about dream as in like our hopes and dreams, right? But then we have like the dreams that we have when we sleep. So, it's one of the things that's like, well, we should just use different words to explain what we're talking about.
Well, do you think he's pointing at spirituality or the subconscious?
No, I think he's making the case that we can't divide the world as simply as that. When I believe that birds are robots, I have changed all of reality as I see it. I've changed the way that my conscious and subconscious are going to work. I've changed the way that my imagination is going to work. I've changed the way that I interpret the material world. I'm going to interpret how I have a relationship with people who don't think that birds are robots, right? the dividing of the worlds isn't as simple as like conscious and subconscious.
So do you think then, all of this cultural referencing he is doing, Moriarty,
Yeah.
is to say it's the same across all humanity? Their
Yeah,
legends are different.
I think he's making the case that there's a universal experience that's across all cultures of all times, and we've communicated it in different ways.
Okay, I had the maybe prescience of it, that like you have an insight before you understand that you have one.
Yeah.
Or just hovering over that idea for a while.
Okay, so here's. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go
Okay.
ahead.
For example, if we're going to communicate across cultures and language barriers the experience of water, we could just state the facts of what water is, right? Or what water can be. But it's way more helpful to tell stories about water to convey the idea of what water means to our culture so that the other cultures can understand. Now, what happens sometimes is these experiences are described through stories, and all the cultures are saying the same thing.
Yeah, I could see that. It would be a common experience to deal with water.
Yeah.
Although I know that some cultures would be completely at home in the water, and others would be very afraid of water.
Yeah.
So there would be that dividing line. Okay. Do you want to say more?
I mean, so Moriarty is what he's pointing to. Is he's pointing to a lot of the various traditions that enter Dreamtime.
I'm thinking about this, Tommy. Somehow
Okay.
I can't quite turn it into um, a thought for my. So say it again. Maybe I'll get it if I hear it again.
Yeah. Okay. What Moriarty's doing is he's drawing from a lot of different cultural stories that
Yeah.
are describing things that happen within Dreamtime in order to show that this thing isn't like limited to a culture.
Mm. Okay, that is clear to me.
Okay.
I mean, that rings true for my experience of this. Well, like I don't end up with as strong an aversion as Anna seems to, but it could be because I'm worn out.
Maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
Anna's aversion is to one particular thing that Moriarty has said.
I probably skipped it then.
When he was talking about Faust being the good guy
Yeah,
or the hero.
yeah. So when you think of Faust in this context, are you seeing him as a um, like a representation of yourself so that you
No,
can accept him? No, you're
no,
seeing them.
I
Go
no, I
ahead.
think what I have to do is go back and because Moriarty is pointing to a particular reference of Faust or a representation of Faust to make a point. So what I need to do, because I'm also with Anna, where I'm like, I don't think I could say that Faust is a hero, but Moriarty is only referencing one poem about Faust. So I need to go back and reread the poem and find out what Moriarty is pointing to.
Mhm. Do you suppose? I mean, maybe I am a little too porous in my acceptance of other points of view. So I could see that Faust could represent something we all do, we've all done, made a deal with the devil. And I think even for the sake of knowledge, I've watched myself be very greedy for more knowledge and kind of go down that path too far and then repent of it.
Oh yeah,
So
that's different than saying that the action that Faust did is heroic.
yes. Okay.
Right,
Okay.
making a deal with the devil is not a heroic act and doesn't make you a hero.
No, but the repentance would be
Yes.
something, and he didn't repent. It caused a lot of problems. He had a child, didn't he have a sister child or something? I don't know.
I'm
It was
not 100% sure.
well. I will be interested to hear your take on it when you read this poem. I have to say, I get caught up in all of the tangent stories, and
Oh,
so I lose the feelings of a particular part of the book because I'm going off. I'm always going off in another direction, thinking now, why is this person doing this, and who am I supposed to embrace here?
no, that's not just you. That's a common problem that we've all been talking about with Moriarty, is that he has a very flighty way of conveying an idea.
It's unsettling for a person.
Yes. Well, we hope so. We haven't quite figured it out yet, but we're giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice, that we aren't. I mean, I probably would have given up reading this if it wasn't for all of the people engaged. There's enough wrestling by individuals to, like get some blood out of the turnip.
Yeah.
Keep squeezing.
Yep.
But I really appreciated what you said. Today it was, and Kevin too. I think Kevin left though.
Yeah.
It was really helpful for me to sort of feel a little more stable.
Oh, good.
If nothing else, the thinking that goes on and watching someone else's, it's like Christ in you, discerning
Yeah.
in a certain way that resonates with me in another way. Um, there is like insights and light that drop into your mind, and you need to sort of air it out. You need to let it out of your mind, not
Yeah.
put words to it somehow. And I feel like it's a real dialogue, which means Christ is here. The Logos is in you, speaking through you. And I'm going, yeah, man. I kind of adore this. It's really, really wonderful.
Enjoy it too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think maybe I've run the gamut of my pea brain.
Okay.
I love you, Tommy. It's been
I love you
fun.
too. Yeah, it's been real fun.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.